Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Now in today's we're going to look at the grip again. Now I'm seeing two very common things that are stopping players from playing better controlled screw shots and certainly having better control in and amongst the balls. Now players think that they need to really squeeze the cue tightly in order to generate screw back, and that's not the case at all. I'm going to show that in this video. And especially when we're in amongst the balls making breaks, you need a nice light controlled grip so that you can have that nice touch and feel and control the white nicely. So you're not feeling like you're suddenly putting all of this squeeze and this grip pressure onto the cue. So I've got two big tips for you in this video that are hopefully really going to help you to improve your own screw shots. Right, so let's have a look at this. So I'm going to play a screw shot. So I'm going to play the brown here and I'm going to screw the white back. But I'm not going to grip the cue at all. I'm actually going to just try and throw the cue forward, not putting any pressure on the grip at all. So let's have a look. So, do my feathers up, yeah, and then no grip pressure. So, you see how I've actually thrown the cue forward, and look at the amount of screw back I've still generated on the white. So let's have a look at that again in slow motion. So, obviously, yeah, this is an extreme example. But what I'm just trying to demonstrate is it's not the pressure on my grip that's causing the screw back. It's obviously I'm trying to hit low down on the cue ball, and obviously I'm trying to generate a lot of follow through past the white when I hit, so that I get all of this backspin effect on the cue ball. So that's what I'm trying to do. So let's have a look at my action here. So if I play this in slow motion, so we'll go quarter speed. So I'm doing my feathers up. There's the backswing. Now let's watch the grip hand. So right the way through, didn't squeeze it, which meant I've actually thrown the cue across the table, as you can see. Let's do an action replay. So I've thrown the cue forward. Let's have a look. No pressure on the grip, and you see it now start to come through there and through my hand. Yeah, and you see the cue actually go across the table. So I don't want you to do that at the club. You'll demonstrate, you'll potentially damage the table. But what I'm just trying to demonstrate is that, yeah, I don't need to do any of that squeezing to get hold of the white ball. So I've let the cue just go through. That's what generates that spin. So let's have a look at this from another angle here. So again, I'm going down into the shot. You can see the distance here is quite big. So we've got this distance. So I'm actually below the blue line. So yeah, this is obviously the blue line. So the white is below the blue line, and the red is, you can see the bulk line, can't you, here? And the red is just past the bulk line, just very slightly. So it's quite a deep screw shot I'm having to play here to get a lot of reaction on the white. Let's have a look. So no grip. Throw the cue. Have to move it out the way. Obviously, I don't advise doing this down to your local club. I'm just demonstrating that it's not this massive squeeze and grip pressure that's particularly going to help you as a player. Now, I'm not saying that you don't squeeze. You absolutely will, because otherwise what's going to happen is you'll get this effect that I'm getting here, where after I hit the shot, I'm actually throwing my cue across the table. So if you don't put any pressure on there, you're going to throw the cue across the table. So see again there, I didn't squeeze, I've just not added any pressure, and the cue has ended up bouncing around and bouncing on the table. But look at the amount of screw back generated on the white ball here. The white is coming all the way back down the table. Now, it will help to some extent to add a bit of pressure on the grip, because you're adding mass to the cue. At the moment, when I'm about to play this shot, my cue weighs about, if I use this one, so my cue is weighing about 18 ounces. But of course, if I suddenly add pressure to my grip hand, if I add a bit of a tightness on there, I've changed the weight of my cue. I'm going to increase this weight very slightly. And that's what does help sometimes to generate, over a long distance, a bit of an extra screw back. But I think the only point of this video, I'm just trying to help people, when you're in and amongst the balls, when you're just playing those little touch and feel shots, don't feel like you're having to be grabbing the cue all the time. The cue speed is not great enough that you need to squeeze it really tightly to stop it throwing across the table. So obviously here, if I'm in slow motion, I do my feathers up, pull the cue back, let the cue go forward. I've generated a lot of that backspin. So yeah, you obviously need to hold the cue so it doesn't do what mine has done, but it wasn't caused purely by that, any of that grip pressure that I'm doing. So when you're in and amongst the balls with that touch and feel, just be careful that you're trying to have nice, soft control, which will help you with positioning the white ball nicely on the next shot. Now, I think the second really big thing that's going to help you with your screw shots is that actually, when you play a screw shot, the tip should come in contact with the cloth on the table. So I think a lot of players fear that if they go low enough on the cue ball, that means that the tip is then going to hit the cloth, and that shouldn't be happening. So that is when they've actually hit too low. But that is actually not the case. So if I play a couple of screw shots here, so when I'm hitting these shots, I actually, as I push through, so if I just show you here, as I push through, if I keep the cue on the same plane, eventually the cue will start to brush along the cloth, and that means that I've kept the cue nice and low. And as long as your cue is well maintained and you haven't got any damage to your tip, and you're not actually down to almost the ferrule, which is the metal part underneath your tip, you won't damage the cloth. And of course, yeah, you should be letting the cue go through. So if I hit one here, so I want to go through, and my tip actually finishes there touching the bed of the table. So yeah, when you're playing these shots here, I think a really big thing, and I see this a lot in my coaching sessions again, is that players have actually got this fear that I'm not meant to be hitting the table with my tip, but that means that they're stopping themselves from going low enough, and oftentimes, even subconsciously, you're lifting the tip up in the air, and that then causes you to get more of a stun shot. So if you just watch a couple of these here, so I'm hitting nice and low, nice relaxed grip like we've talked about, push through. Yeah, my tip actually comes into contact with the bed of the table. So yeah, again, some nice screw back reaction there. So nice and low, nice relaxed grip. Yeah, tip can go through and hit the bed of the table. And that's a really good tip. I actually find when I'm doing my sessions with players, one thing when you almost give someone permission to say, yep, look, let the cue go through the white ball. It's going to go past and through, past the white. That's how you get all the spin generated. But go low enough, let the cue hit the bed of the table, let the tip hit the cloth. That's going to help you get low enough on the ball, get that follow through, and really get the white spinning. So as always, I really hope this was useful. Let me know in the comments if those little tips there help you to generate more screw back. So we've seen that we don't need to grip the cue too tightly. Obviously, you've got to be careful. You don't want the cue flying across the table like I did in this video. That was just a way of me just showing the extreme, just showing that it's not the fact that I'm putting all this pressure on that's causing the white ball to come backwards. Obviously, we do need to add a little tiny bit of pressure, otherwise you'll do what I did and throw the cue across the table. But these little tips here, keeping that grip nice and relaxed, and then the permission to let the tip brush along the table will hopefully really improve your screw shots. And let me know in the comments if this video does help. As always, if you did enjoy this video, remember to give it a like. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. That helps me to just keep all these videos coming regularly. For anyone that's interested in any personal one-to-one training sessions, I'm working on this very table that you see in this video, helping players to improve their game all the time. So have a look in the description box below. You'll see all my details there. Get in touch, and I'd love to help you with your game. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one, everybody. Cheers.